Social media has a way of shattering perfect lives with surgical precision. One casual scroll, one tagged photo, and suddenly your whole world tilts on its axis. That's exactly what happened when I saw the picture of my husband having dinner with a woman I'd never met. Their heads bent close together, wine glasses catching the dim restaurant lighting. I'm Anna, and until 5 minutes ago, I thought I knew everything about Mark Thompson. My finger hovered over the image. The woman was striking, all sharp angles and perfectly styled dark hair. The caption read, "Great catching up with old friends. Some connections never fade." Throwback Thursday, posted by David Collins, tagged with both Mark and Jenna Collins. Jenna Collins. The name sat like acid in my stomach. "Hey, did you see that client's email about the logo redesign?" Mark's voice carried from the kitchen. I could hear him opening the refrigerator, so casual, so normal. "No," I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. "I've been a bit distracted by something else." The refrigerator door closed. His footsteps approached our home office. "Everything okay?" I turned the monitor toward him as he entered. "You tell me." Mark's face did something complicated. Surprise, recognition, then careful neutrality. "Oh, that's just Jenna. We ran into each other at Carluccio's last week. Should have mentioned it." "Should have mentioned it," I repeated. The words tasted bitter. "Like you should have mentioned she's your ex-girlfriend?" He laughed, but it sounded hollow. "Ancient history, Anna. David's just stirring up drama. You know how social media is." "Do I?" I stood up, my chair rolling back. "Because what I know is my husband had an intimate dinner with his ex-girlfriend and didn't tell me. What I know is her brother thought it was significant enough to post about. What I know is you're standing there trying to make me feel crazy for asking questions. You're overreacting." Mark's jaw tightened. "It was a chance meeting. We caught up over dinner. That's all." "Your body language in that photo says otherwise." I zoomed in on their faces, their intimate posture. "You look pretty cozy for a chance meeting." "For God's sake, Anna." He ran a hand through his hair. "This is exactly why I didn't tell you. You always do this. Turn everything into some kind of investigation. Because you always give me reasons to investigate." The words exploded out of me. Every time I think we're solid, something like this happens. A mysterious text, a late meeting, and now this? His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, then quickly turned it face down. "Let me guess," I said. "Work emergency." "Actually, yes, I need to handle this." He backed toward the door. "We can talk about your trust issues later." "My trust issues?" I laughed, the sound sharp and unfamiliar. "Right. Because I'm the problem here. I can't deal with this right now." He grabbed his keys from the desk. "I have a client crisis." "At 9:30 at night?" "Some of us actually have to work late sometimes, Anna. We can't all make our own schedules like you do." The jab at my freelance career stung, but I refused to let him see it. "Fine, go. But this conversation isn't over." "Whatever you say." He paused at the doorway. "Try not to spiral while I'm gone." The front door slammed moments later. I sat back down, my hands shaking as I opened my browser. It took less than 5 minutes to find Jenna Collins on LinkedIn. Marketing executive at Summit Enterprises, the same company where Mark had recently landed a major account. My phone lit up with a text from Emily. "Wine emergency, I'm free." I stared at the message, then back at the photo, at Mark's familiar profile, turned toward this stranger who wasn't really a stranger at all, at David Collins' deliberately provocative caption. "Come over," I texted back. "Bring the expensive stuff. We have work to do." Sometimes the universe hands you signs in neon letters. Sometimes it whispers in tagged photos and calculated captions. Either way, I was done ignoring the messages. Emily arrived with 2 bottles of Cabernet and a determination in her eyes that matched mine. We were halfway through the first bottle when my mother-in-law's number lit up my phone. "Sunday dinner, no excuses this time." Linda's voice carried that familiar steel-wrapped-in silk tone. Mark's already confirmed you're both free. Of course he had. I caught Emily's raised eyebrow as I replied, "We'll be there." Wonderful. Oh, and Anna, do try to dress appropriately. The Hendersons are joining us. The line went dead before I could respond. Emily topped off my glass. The Hendersons? Family friends. I took a long sip. Though I'm sure it's just a coincidence that their daughter works at Summit Enterprises with Jenna. Nothing's ever a coincidence with Linda Thompson. The Sunday dinner was exactly as excruciating as I'd expected. Linda's house screamed old money, from the crystal chandelier to the carefully arranged family photos, most featuring Mark and none including me. "Anna, dear, you're looking tired." Linda passed the roast with a practiced smile. "Work keeping you busy?" "Very," I matched her tone, though not as busy as Mark. All those late meetings at Summit. Mark's fork clattered against his plate. Mrs. Henderson perked up. "Summit? My Caroline mentioned seeing you there, Mark. Apparently, you've been working closely with Jenna Collins." The silence that followed was deafening. Linda broke it with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. "Jenna, how wonderful. She was always such a lovely girl. Remember when you two dated in college, Mark? Before the unfortunate incident?" "Mother." Mark's warning tone came too late. "What incident?" I asked, though my stomach was already nodding. "Oh, ancient history." Linda waved her hand dismissively, though Jenna did have such drive. "Already climbing the corporate ladder while you were still finding yourself, weren't you, Anna?" "I remember Jenna," Mr. Henderson chimed in, oblivious to the tension. "Didn't she almost transfer to Paris for that marketing position, right before the sudden breakup?" Linda's smile tightened. "More wine? Anyone?" I watched Mark's face carefully. He was studying his plate with unusual intensity, his jaw working silently. "Actually," I said, reaching for my phone, "I'd love to hear more about Jenna, especially since she and Mark have been having such intimate dinners lately." The photo from David's post filled my screen as I turned it toward the table. Linda's face went perfectly blank, a tell I'd learned to recognize. "Oh, that?" She recovered quickly. "Just a business meeting, surely." Mark's always been good at maintaining professional relationships. Professional. I scrolled to another photo I'd found, dated 3 years ago. "Like this one, at your charity gala." The image showed a younger Jenna, radiant in evening wear, standing between Mark and Linda. Their body language spoke volumes. "You've been busy," Mark said quietly. "Someone has to be honest here." Linda set down her wine glass with precise control. "Anna, dear, this obsession with Mark's past is becoming rather unseemly. Perhaps we should discuss this another time." "Why? Afraid of what else might come up?" "That's enough." Mark stood abruptly. "Mother, I'm sorry. Anna's been stressed lately." "Of course she has." Linda's sympathy dripped poison. "It must be difficult, feeling so insecure." I pushed back from the table. "Thank you for dinner, Linda. It's been illuminating." Outside, Mark grabbed my arm. "What the hell was that about?" "You tell me. Better yet, tell me about the unfortunate incident with Jenna." "It's not important." "Your mother seems to think it is." She practically glowed talking about Jenna's ambition. "Don't start." "Start what?" "Asking why your ex-girlfriend is suddenly everywhere. Why your mother looks like she won the lottery every time her name comes up." He released my arm. "I'm staying at the office tonight. Call me when you're ready to act like an adult." I watched him drive away, then pulled out my phone. A new notification blinked. David Collins had tagged Mark in another photo. This one from earlier today. Another chance meeting at Summit. I typed a quick message to Emily. "Found the incident. Sending you Linda's charity gala photos from 2020. Look who's wearing the family diamonds." The response came instantly. "Holy shit, those are the same ones she refused to let you wear at your wedding." "Exactly." I started my car, my hands steady for the first time all evening. Time to find out what really happened 3 years ago. Sometimes the best revenge starts with asking the right questions. And I had a feeling David Collins had plenty of answers. The startup story was a lie. Emily's contact at Summit confirmed it over coffee. Jenna wasn't seeking business advice. She was spearheading the company's largest marketing campaign, with Mark as her direct liaison. 3 meetings a week, Emily said, sliding her phone across the cafe table. Always after 5, always just the two of them. The calendar invites were coded innocuously. Project Phoenix Review. My wedding ring felt heavy as I scrolled through the dates. There's more. Emily hesitated. Remember that Paris position Linda mentioned? The one Jenna almost took? She did take it, then suddenly resigned 2 days before leaving, right after Linda's charity gala. My phone buzzed. Another David Collins post. This time, an old photo. Jenna wearing the Thompson family diamonds. Linda beaming beside her. Caption: remember when some dreams seemed possible? Throwback Thursday. Family jewels. He's baiting someone, I said. But who? Message him. What? Think about it. He's Mark's ex's brother, deliberately stirring up trouble. He wants someone to ask questions. I stared at the photo, at Linda's possessive grip on Jenna's arm, at the diamonds that should have been mine 3 years later. The message I sent was simple. The Thompson diamonds look different in every photo. Funny how family heirlooms change. His response came within minutes. Maybe we should discuss that over coffee. The cafe he chose was across town, deliberately far from Summit's offices. David Collins looked exactly like his social media photos. Sharp features, calculating eyes, and a smile that didn't quite reach them. Those weren't the real diamonds, he said without preamble. Linda had replicas made. The originals disappeared the night of the gala. Disappeared, along with the contents of the wall safe, several account passwords, and some very interesting documents. He stirred his coffee methodically. Jenna was blamed, of course. Linda made sure of that. But Jenna still works at Summit. 3 years is a long time to plan something. He looked up. Your mother-in-law ever tell you why she really retired from being principal? My phone lit up. Mark calling. I declined it. Linda Thompson doesn't retire from anything, I said. She orchestrates exits, like she orchestrated Jenna's exit from Mark's life. David's smile turned sharp. Ask your husband about the Paris job sometime. Ask him who really arranged it and why Jenna suddenly couldn't take it. Another call from Mark. Another decline. Why are you telling me this? Because you're not the first woman Linda's tried to control through Mark. But you could be the last. He pulled out his phone, showed me an email. Jenna's startup. It's real, but it's not what Linda thinks. The business plan outlined a digital security firm specializing in financial fraud investigation. The diamonds were just the beginning, David said. Linda's been running schemes through the school district for years. Jenna found proof, but Linda caught her before she could expose it. My phone buzzed again. This time, Emily. 911. Mark knows we met his mother's assistant. He's heading to your cafe. He's coming here, I said, standing. David's smile widened. Perfect timing. There's someone you should meet. He nodded toward the door. Jenna Collins stood there, elegant and poised, exactly as in her photos. Our eyes met, and I saw something familiar in them. The same cold determination I'd been feeling since finding that first photo. Anna, she said, sliding into the seat beside David, we need to talk about your mother-in-law and about how we're going to take everything from her. The cafe door chimed. Mark's voice carried across the room. Anna? I should have left, should have run. Instead, I sat back down, my heart steady for the first time in weeks. Tell me everything, I said. Sometimes revenge isn't about what you lose, but about what you find in the aftermath. As Mark approached our table, his face shifting from anger to shock to fear, I realized I'd found something unexpected. Allies who hated Linda Thompson even more than I did. And that was just the beginning. The client presentation was going badly. My hands shook as I clicked through the design mock-ups, each slide feeling more disconnected than the last. The conference room's silence grew heavier with each transition. Miss Thompson, the CEO interrupted. These concepts seem unfocused. 3 weeks of work, and I couldn't even remember my original vision for the campaign. My mind kept drifting to the files David had shared last night. Linda's careful documentation of her schemes, the way she'd systematically destroyed Jenna's reputation. I can revise these, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Perhaps we should postpone. My phone lit up with a text from Mark. Mother's in the hospital. Where are you? The CEO was still talking. Something about deadlines and expectations, but the words blurred together. Another text flashed. Serious, need you here. I have to go, I said, gathering my laptop. Family emergency. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly, my heels clicking against sterile tiles. I found Mark pacing outside a private room, his suit jacket rumpled. What happened? They're saying stress-induced collapse. His voice cracked. She was reviewing the charity gala preparations when… The gala? My stomach dropped. The event where Jenna planned to expose everything. Someone's been accessing her private accounts. Mark ran a hand through his hair. The bank called this morning about suspicious transfers dating back years. She was trying to handle it alone. Linda lay pale against white sheets, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her phone sat on the bedside table, screen lighting up periodically with notifications. The doctors want her to rest, Mark said, but she's insisting on handling the gala arrangements from here. Could you take over the planning? He squeezed my hand. You're the only one I trust. The irony burned. I thought of the documents on my laptop, the evidence David and Jenna had compiled. The gala guest list included every major donor to the school district's special projects. Linda's careful web of financial manipulation. Of course, I said. I'll handle everything. Linda's eyes fluttered open. Anna, come closer, dear. I approached the bed, noting how her manicured hand still gripped her phone. The gala files, she whispered. In my home office, the blue folder. I'll get them. No, her grip tightened on my wrist. The safe behind the painting. Code is Mark's birthday. Bring everything to me, only me. Her eyes held mine, and I saw something I'd never noticed before. Fear. My phone vibrated. Jenna. Meeting. Now. It's about Linda. I need some air, I told Mark, kissing his cheek. He barely nodded, focused on his mother's monitors. I found Jenna in the hospital cafe, elegant even under fluorescent lights. She's faking, she said without preamble. What? The collapse. It's her signature move when she's cornered. Check her private calendar. She has a standing appointment with her lawyer tomorrow. How do you… Because she did the same thing when I confronted her 3 years ago. Jenna's smile was bitter. Right before she planted evidence of embezzlement in my name. My phone buzzed again. David, found something big. Linda's been moving money today, lots of it. She wants me to access her safe, I said. Get her files for the gala. Perfect. Jenna leaned forward. This is our chance. We can… Anna? We both froze. Emily stood at our table, her expression unreadable. I was bringing you these. She held up my forgotten portfolio from the client meeting. But it seems you're busy with other priorities. The judgment in her voice was clear. My oldest friend, watching me conspire with my husband's mistress. Emily, wait. But she was already walking away, her disappointed silence louder than any accusation. My phone lit up one final time. An email from the CEO. Contract terminated due to unprofessional conduct. I stared at the message, feeling the pieces of my life sliding further out of control. Across the table, Jenna watched with calculating eyes. Sometimes, she said softly, you have to lose everything to see what really matters. The hospital intercom crackled. Code blue, room 415, Linda's room. I stood, caught between running toward the emergency and running away from everything. In that moment, I realized there was no going back, only through. Tell me about the safe, I said to Jenna. Tell me everything. Linda's home office felt different in the dark. The moonlight caught the edge of the safe's dial as I entered Mark's birthday. A combination so obvious, it had to be a trap. Inside, the blue folder sat exactly where she'd said it would be, but it wasn't alone. A velvet box caught my eye, the Thompson family diamonds. The real ones, not the replicas Jenna had worn. My phone buzzed. David, don't take anything, it's rigged. Too late. The folder was already in my hands, and somewhere in the house, a silent alarm had probably triggered. I had minutes, maybe seconds. The folder contained what we expected: doctored financial records, carefully crafted letters of recommendation for special students whose parents had made substantial donations. But underneath it all was something else. A letter addressed to Mark, dated 3 years ago. Headlights swept across the window. I snapped photos rapidly, my hands steady despite everything. The front door opened downstairs. "Anna?" Mark's voice. "The hospital said you'd left hours ago." The letter's contents burned in my mind. Linda's careful manipulation of the Paris job offer, her orchestration of Jenna's downfall, and most damning, proof that Mark had known everything. "Up here," I called, buying seconds to replace the folder. "Just getting those files your mother wanted." His footsteps on the stairs. My phone vibrated again. "Jenna, got your photos. This changes everything. Get out now." "You shouldn't be here alone," Mark said from the doorway. "Mother's asking for those documents." "Of course she is." I turned, studying his face. This man I thought I knew. "Tell me about Paris, Mark." He stilled. "What?" "The job offer. The one that would have taken Jenna away. The one you helped your mother sabotage. You've been talking to Jenna." His voice hardened. "She's manipulating you, Anna, like she tried to manipulate me." "Really?" "Because the letter in that safe tells a different story." I stepped closer. "You knew what your mother did to her. You helped." "I protected our family." "You protected your inheritance." His phone rang. Linda's ringtone. He ignored it. "Whatever you think you found." "I found the truth about the diamonds, the school funds, everything." My voice shook, but not from fear. "Did you really think I wouldn't figure it out?" "Anna, was any of it real? Us? Or was I just convenient? The quiet designer who wouldn't ask too many questions?" He reached for me. I stepped back. "Don't." My phone lit up. "Emily, I trusted you. Everything I did was for us," he said. "Mother might be controlling, but she protects what matters. Our lifestyle, our future." "Your lifestyle," I laughed, the sound sharp and foreign. "Built on fraud and ruined lives." His mother's ringtone again. This time he answered. "Yes, Mother. No, everything's fine. Anna's getting the files now." I watched him lie so smoothly, this stranger wearing my husband's face. "The gala's tomorrow," he said, after hanging up. "Mother needs those documents. Don't make this difficult." Like Jenna made things difficult. Something dark crossed his features. Jenna made her choice. And now I'm making mine. I moved toward the door. "The files stay here." He blocked my path. "Anna, think about what you're doing. Once you walk this path, you'll what? Destroy me too?" My smile felt dangerous. "Too late. I've already lost everything that mattered." "Not everything." His voice softened. "We can fix this. Together. Like we always have." For a moment, I remembered why I'd fallen in love with him. This man who could make everything sound so simple, so right. Then my phone buzzed one final time. "David, Emily's here. She has something you need to see, now." "You're right," I told Mark. "We can't walk this path together." I pushed past him, his stunned silence following me down the stairs. Outside, Emily's car idled in the shadows. David in the passenger seat. As I slid into the back seat, Emily met my eyes in the rearview mirror. "Ready to hear what I found?" I looked back at the house, at the life I'd thought was perfect. Ready to end this. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't discovering the truth. It's deciding what to do with it once you have it. The gala ballroom glittered with false promises. Linda held court near the stage, miraculously recovered from her hospital stay, while Mark worked the crowd with practiced charm. The Thompson family diamonds, the fakes, sparkled at Linda's throat. I adjusted my earpiece. Everyone in position. Ready, David confirmed from the control booth. Jenna's standing by with the files. Emily's voice crackled through. Security's distracted. You're clear. My presentation remote felt heavy in my hand. In 10 minutes, I'd be introducing the evening's charitable cause and revealing 3 years of carefully documented fraud. Anna, darling. Linda's hand gripped my arm. A word. She steered me toward a quiet corner, her smile never wavering. I know what you took from the safe. My pulse quickened, but I kept my voice steady. The gala files, like you asked, and the letter. Her fingers dug deeper. Did you enjoy reading about your husband's true nature? You mean your puppet? My son. Her eyes hardened. Who chose family over that ambitious little snake? Just like he'll choose family over you. Mrs. Thompson, a server approached. You're needed on stage. Linda released me. Remember, dear, I've destroyed better women than you. I watched her glide away, then checked my phone. Still no message from Jenna, confirming the final evidence transfer. Something felt wrong. Mark appeared beside me. Mother seems worried. Does she? She's not the only one who can check security footage. He nodded toward the ceiling cameras. I saw you in her office last night. The presentation remote suddenly felt like a bomb in my hand. Then you know what I found. I know you're about to make a terrible mistake. He took my free hand. There's still time to fix this, Anna. Come home. We'll start over. For a moment, I wavered. Then my earpiece crackled. Anna, we have a problem. Jenna's not responding. And the presentation file. It's gone. My blood ran cold. On stage, Linda was beginning her speech, looking directly at me as she praised her family's dedication to charitable causes. What did you do? I whispered to Mark. His smile turned sad. Protected what matters, like always. I pulled away, but he caught my wrist. Think carefully about your next move. Mother's lawyers are very good at what they do. Just ask Jenna. Anna, David's voice was urgent in my ear. Security's coming. They know about the earpieces. I scanned the room. Emily was nowhere in sight. The USB drive in my clutch felt useless without the presentation file. Years of evidence, gone in an instant. Linda's voice carried across the ballroom. And now, my dear daughter-in-law will share our exciting new initiative. Applause, expectant faces. Mark's hand at my back, guiding me toward the stage. Last chance, he murmured. Choose wisely. I mounted the steps, my heels clicking against polished wood. Linda handed me the microphone, her victory already assured. In the control booth, I saw David being escorted out. The spotlight felt like an interrogation lamp. I looked down at the remote in my hand, useless now, at Mark's encouraging smile, at Linda's perfectly composed expression. The Thompson Family Foundation, I began, my voice surprisingly calm, is built on a legacy of helping others. Linda nodded approvingly. A legacy of lies. The microphone screeched. Linda's smile froze. Anna. Mark's warning carried across the sudden silence. My presentation seems to have gone missing, I continued. Just like the real Thompson diamonds. Just like 3 years of school district funds. Just like every person who's ever threatened to expose the truth. Security was moving through the crowd. I saw Emily slip through a side door, either escaping or abandoned. I couldn't tell. But you forgot something, Linda. I reached into my clutch, past the USB drive, to the letter I'd photographed. I made copies. Linda lunged for the microphone, but I was already reading. Dearest Mark, regarding the Paris situation. The rest was lost in chaos. Security rushed the stage. Mark's face contorted with something between rage and fear. And Linda, perfectly composed Linda, finally showed her true colors as she screamed for someone to stop me. But it was too late. The truth was out. And so was I. Being dragged from the stage, my carefully planned revenge crumbling around me, with no idea if anyone I'd trusted was still on my side. Sometimes rock bottom has a basement, and I was about to discover just how deep it went. Security deposited me in Linda's private office, where the real drama always unfolded. She entered moments later, still wearing those fake diamonds, Mark following like a shadow. That was quite a performance, Linda said, closing the door. Fortunately, our guests are very understanding about mental health issues. Is that how you'll spin this? I laughed. Like you spun Jenna's embezzlement? Where is she? Mark demanded. What have you done with the real files? A new voice answered. They're safe, unlike your mother's reputation. Jenna stepped from behind the office partition, holding her phone like a weapon. Emily emerged beside her, clutching a laptop. Linda's composure cracked. How did you get in? Emily smiled. Your security team's loyalty only runs as deep as their paychecks, unlike friendship. Everything you just said out there, Jenna continued. Every threat, every lie, it's all recorded, along with 3 years of similar conversations. Mark moved toward her, but David appeared in the doorway, blocking his path. Don't. You orchestrated this, Linda said to me, realization dawning. The gala presentation was a distraction. No. I met her gaze. It was bait. We knew you'd shut it down, knew you'd bring us here to threaten us in private. Just like you threatened Jenna 3 years ago. In this very office. Emily opened the laptop, turned it toward them. Security footage played. Linda, in this same room, detailing exactly how she'd destroyed Jenna's career if she didn't leave Mark. That's inadmissible, Linda snapped. In court, maybe. Jenna's finger hovered over her phone. But the court of public opinion, they'll love it, especially paired with those school district records. Mark's face had gone pale. Mother. Oh, he doesn't know. I pulled out the letter. Show him, Linda. Tell him where the money really went. Tell him about the offshore accounts, the bribes, the carefully orchestrated donations that kept your perfect life running. Everything I did was for you, Linda told Mark, to protect you from women like them, like her. She pointed at me. No, Mark's voice shook. You did it for control. The press release goes out in 5 minutes, David said. Unless what? Linda's eyes narrowed. Resign from the foundation, I said. All positions. Transfer control to Mark. Sign a confession about the school district funds, which will only be released if you ever try to interfere in anyone's life again. You're blackmailing me? I'm offering you what you never gave anyone else, I corrected. A choice. Linda turned to Mark, reaching for him. Son. He stepped back. Sign it, Mother. Mark. Sign it, or I release everything. His voice hardened, including what really happened to Dad's inheritance. The room went silent. Linda stared at her son, seeing him clearly perhaps, for the first time. 4 minutes, Jenna said quietly. Linda's hand trembled as she reached for the papers Emily now held out. You'll regret this, she said, signing. All of you. No. I took off my wedding ring, placed it on her desk. The only regret was not seeing you for what you were sooner. Anna. Mark stepped toward me, but I held up my hand. You chose your side long ago. I looked at Emily, then David. I'm choosing mine. Linda's phone buzzed, probably her lawyers, warning her about the impending scandal. She'd survive, we all knew that. People like her always did, but her power was broken. The real diamonds, she said suddenly. Where are they? I smiled. Ask Jenna. After all, she earned them 3 years ago, didn't she? We left Linda Thompson in her office, clutching fake diamonds and signed confessions, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. Mark stood beside her, finally forced to face the truth about his choices. Outside, David touched my arm. You okay? No. I watched Emily and Jenna head toward their car, years of secrets and pain finally laid to rest. But I will be. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about freeing yourself from their power, even if that means walking away from everything you thought you wanted. I stepped into the night, leaving the Thompson family to their glittering lies. Ahead of me stretched an uncertain future, but at least it was mine to choose. The divorce papers arrived on the same morning as the job offer. I signed both at my desk in Emily's spare room, watching the sunrise paint the city in shades of possibility. The headlines had been brutal. Thompson Foundation, Scandal Rocks Education Community. Linda's carefully crafted empire crumbled in days, though she'd managed to keep herself out of jail. Mark took control of the foundation, promising transparency and restitution. My phone buzzed. David. Turn on Channel 7. Jenna stood at a podium, launching her new security firm. The camera panned to show prominent business leaders in attendance, then caught Linda watching from the shadows, powerless to interfere. Quite a view, David said when I met him for coffee later. He nodded toward my laptop screen, where I was finalizing designs for Jenna's company website. Never thought you'd be working for the other woman. Life's full of surprises. I closed the laptop. Speaking of which, Mark called again. And? He wants to try again. Says he's changed now that he's free from Linda's influence. David's expression darkened. What did you tell him? Nothing yet. I stirred my coffee, watching the patterns swirl. That's the thing about patterns. They're hard to break. Anna. Emily appeared, dropping into the seat beside me. The Thompson house just listed for sale. I pulled up the listing on my phone. The familiar facade looked smaller somehow, less imposing. In the master bedroom photo, I spotted the wall safe behind its painting, now empty of secrets and false diamonds. Jenna's wearing the real ones today, David noted. At the launch. Good, I smiled. They were always meant for her. My phone lit up with another call. Mark again. This time I answered. The house is selling, he said without preamble. Mother's moving to Arizona. I thought, maybe we could start fresh, buy something new, together. I watched David and Emily pretend not to listen, their protective instincts visible in their tense shoulders. No, I said simply. Anna, you chose your mother over the truth, over Jenna, over me. Every time, Mark, that was your pattern. I took a breath. I'm breaking mine. The silence stretched. Finally, he whispered, I'm sorry. I know. And I did. That's why I'm not sending the photos to the press. Some patterns deserve a chance to change. I ended the call, feeling lighter. Emily squeezed my hand. The client meeting's in an hour, she reminded me. You ready? I gathered my portfolio, no longer full of compromised designs and half-finished dreams, but sharp, clear work that reflected my renewed focus. Actually, David said, there's something I need to show you first. He led us to his car, parked around the corner. In the back seat lay a familiar blue folder. Linda's original files, he explained. The ones that started everything. How did you? Jenna had them all along. Insurance. He handed them to me. Your choice what to do with them. I held the folder, feeling its weight. Not just paper, but years of manipulation and pain. Of choices made and unmade. The coffee shop's fireplace is still lit, Emily suggested. We watched the pages curl and blacken, taking Linda's last hold on us with them. As the ashes settled, my phone buzzed with a text from Jenna. Contracts ready when you are, no strings attached. David caught my eye. Speaking of strings, don't, I smiled. Some patterns are worth exploring. We walked to the client meeting together, leaving the ashes of the Thompson legacy behind. Ahead lay uncertainty, yes, but also possibility. Freedom, choice. My ring finger felt lighter without its band, but my steps felt surer. Sometimes the heaviest chains are the ones we forge ourselves, linking us to patterns we think we can't escape. But patterns can be broken. Lives can be redesigned. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies at all. It's about becoming exactly who they feared you might be. Someone beyond their control. I stepped into the meeting room, ready to present my vision. My own vision, at last.